Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday from the Podcast Daily. It is Stock Watch time, and we've got a game to evaluate, so we don't have to make up new rules this week. That's Bill Landis, Jeremy Birmingham, and I am Austin Ward. In case you forgot, it was 54-10 last week, so there's probably a lot of people that we could point to that are trending up on the stocks. But the first couple quarters for the offense weren't great. I don't think Birm will take a stock down, but the options are available. Maybe Bill will. We'll see. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'll do a stock down first.
Ooh, a stock down. Yeah.
It's stock down on the run game.
Okay.
Or maybe it'd be more fair to say it's flat right now. Like it was good. I wanted to buy some of it like 2 weeks ago. I kind of, I want to wait and see now after what I saw against Iowa. Again, a very good defense, but the lack of execution coming out of the bye week to me was a little bit alarming. It's not anything I don't think they can get fixed because the good we've seen of this rushing attack has been very good. It's been better than last year. Last year was an issue. I felt like they addressed it in the proper way. They got a new offensive line coach in here. Everyone was playing very well, and they're like building some momentum, and all of a sudden it stopped against a good defense in Iowa. And it's got to pick back up here, not necessarily to beat Penn State, like certainly not to beat Northwestern or Indiana or Maryland, but to have it at your disposal and be comfortable doing it and executing it in the biggest games of the year. Michigan, Big Ten championship, playoff if they get to that point. So I thought they took a little bit of a step back.
It's like what Bob Carpenter said at the live show on Monday. Like, after an off week, the first play you call shouldn't be intercepted, right? And that's what happened to Iowa. But the Ohio State offensive line felt sort of like it got intercepted on when first matchup against a defense that were like, hey, this defense is probably going to be pretty good. And then they did stonewall and you're like, eeh. So I would have said probably down on the interior of the offensive line is where
I think the guards more specifically.
Yeah, they did not play very well. But I'm gonna take stock up on Chip Trayanum because he's now moved to running back. He's got an opportunity to make some plays there, and maybe that'll help him get more comfortable in the kick return game as well. If he's handling the ball a bit more in practice, you never know. It could be a little bit easier to field a kickoff if you're actually carrying the ball in practice. So Chip Trayanum, especially with the continued issues that Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson have had, I think that Chip's in a position to make some things happen when he gets the ball. We saw it on Saturday against Iowa. I think he's going to score a touchdown on Saturday, but that's not a bold prediction. I just think he's going to.
You think Chip Trayanum's going to score a touchdown on Saturday?
Yeah.
Like as a running back?
Yeah.
What happened to the concern that you had on Tuesday that this was going to be a tight game? Like,
it can still be a tight game, and the Buckeyes score a point. Like,
it's going to be a tight game, but
they're going to go to their fourth string running back. Is going to be out there.
I don't consider him like a fourth string running back. I just think they'll have an opportunity to get him in there, and I think he'll score.
Didn't he literally say on Snap Judgments on Tuesday that Dallin Hayden was still the third guy?
Yeah, I said I think he will be.
I like it. I like he's keeping us on our toes.
I think he's going to have an opportunity to move up.
Check back on Thursday when Birm's going to say that Chip Trayanum's going to start against Penn State. He's going up the depth chart one rung every single day. I will give a stock up, way up, to Zach Harrison. It's not the first time that we've mentioned him, and some of the previous examples we've said, oh, it's stock up, but it's because he's not being properly appreciated for what he does against the run. What he did on Saturday against Iowa was a culmination of, I think, getting midway through the final year and understanding the pressure, the urgency. He said he practiced at a different level. I know that's easier to say after you play very well, but I have found Zach Harrison to be very upfront, transparent, and honest with his assessments. So when he said it, I thought he meant it because I was asking specifically about the get off and the quickness, reaction, getting to the quarterback. That's obviously unfair to always be comparing him to the greats who came before here, but he's playing at a high level and was the most productive player, according to PFF, in the entire country, but the most impactful player in his 20-odd snaps on Saturday against Iowa. Needed more, in my opinion, so that stock can continue to grow up, but there was some sort of, scoffing in the offseason because pro scouts are still enamored by the athletic tools, and you'd see the occasional mock drafts like Zach Harrison, number 25, let's say. And you'd be like, but why? A lot of people, this guy's got, 6 sacks in his career? That doesn't make any sense. Well, now some of those numbers are coming along, and then you add that to the athleticism, the maturity, the journey, all the other things. It's going in the right direction for him. It's fun to watch.
I think the best way to appreciate Zach, because he gets thought of in the context of the guys that came before him, is to understand that he kind of doesn't play the same position as the Bosa's and Chase Young. And Anthony Schlegel said this when you guys did the difference on Sunday. Like, Zach is at the next level, probably more likely like a 3-4-5 technique kind of player. He's not a 7. He's definitely not a 9, which is like way outside. Like Chase Young and the Bosa's would just explode off the ball and basically run around your tackle because they can't get to them. That is not Zach's game. But he's so long and powerful and still quick that when he lines up inside, I don't think tackles and certainly guards can't handle him. And I think he's starting to tap into that. And the coaching staff, too, is starting to lean into that skill set a little more. I think you're seeing him take off a little bit. Stock up for Noah Ruggles. Coming off the bench, so to speak, I guess. Kicking 4 field goals against Penn State. I guess he's always on the bench. To have only kicked 3 field goals all year and then come in and kick 4 when they kind of needed it, I think speaks to his calmness in big situations. Now, that ended up being a blowout. But at the time that he was kicking, nobody knew that. Those were important points at the time. We saw him do it last year in big spots too. Won the Rose Bowl at Nebraska against Penn State. Like, he's not the first time he's done it, but I thought the little bit that we've seen of him this year looked a little bit off. And to see him come in and kick 4 from fairly long distance against Iowa, I thought was a good sign.
Yeah, that grasshopper is.
It's a very large grasshopper.
It's the biggest grasshopper.
That's a rhinoceros.
It's a mutant.
Speaking of mutants, thank you. You led me right into this. You know that
Professor X.
only one receiver on Ohio State has caught a touchdown in every game he's played this year, and that's Julian Fleming. And he continues to.
What an interesting stat.
He just continues to get better and better, and he's starting to show all of the upside that people thought he would have when he came out of Catawissa, PA, as the number 1 ranked player in the country in the class of 2020. And the relationship that he has with C.J. Stroud, it kind of gets overshadowed by the Jackson Smith and Jigba thing and by what Marvin Harrison does. But those two, Julian Fleming is pretty much the reason that C.J. Stroud is at Ohio State. He was like the primary recruiter in that instance. And I really think that their relationship, you're starting to see it yield fruit on Saturdays. Fleming, he's running by people. He's running through people. He's not doing a lot of running around people, but I don't care. He's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
As long as you can get by them, then you're going to find yourself open. And the most important thing he's doing is he's catching the football. Like, for a kid that played basically a wing tee offense in high school, it was a lot of just chuck it and pray type situation because nobody was ever covering him. He's making contested catches. He's making downfield catches. The last 2 touchdowns against Michigan State and this past week against Iowa were both very tough plays where he had to catch it, run through a guy, and then finish the play. So, to me, Julian Fleming, stock up.
I'm excited to watch him play. A healthy Julian Fleming in Beaver Stadium is ripe with narrative. If he plays well in that game.
Yeah, there will be a lot of interesting things said to him.
I imagine there's no one in the country more disappointed that Julian Fleming is playing well than Alabama. You know, like, now he can't play there next year.
Oh, I got it. I was like, where are you going with that? Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome, America.
Well done. All right. This stock is flat, which it's not obviously not a good or bad thing, but it is one that I am intrigued by for its growth potential, and that is the cornerbacks. We've talked about them a lot. I said last Wednesday on the Stock Watch that I was buying Cameron Brown for the second half. Turns out that was the exact same day that he had a setback with the lower body and missed Saturday's game, and I expect will miss this week against Penn State as well. So that's a negative. Well, then you get Jordan Hancock back, and I thought that he played well. There were limited opportunities. I'm not sure how much stock we can really put into shutting down Iowa's attempt at a passing attack, whatever it was. Yeah,
that doesn't mean it's not
But
relevant.
The fact that he was healthy enough, didn't appear to be limited physically after 9 weeks or so of dealing with that hamstring injury. There was so much offseason talk about Jordan Hancock. It was crazy, the expectations at Ohio State and people who'd seen him throughout workouts, seen him in spring ball, the expectations that were there for him were enormous. So if he's healthy enough to do that, and you would assume that the opportunity will be there if Cameron Brown's not playing this week. He was considered to be ahead of J.K. Johnson on that pecking order, and he's done fine, certainly well enough to be out there. It's a key week for it because Penn State does have some weapons at wide receiver. There'll be some throws that are coming their way. Sean Clifford has been known to, hit defenders with those passes. So Ohio State's going to have some chances to send that stock way up this week. But for now, I'm just keeping my eye on it.
Yeah, I buy that. It's good. It's good investment, I think.
It was no investment at all. You didn't buy it.
Well, but he kind of hinted that he wants to buy it. You know what I mean? He's like laying the foundation.
So it's playing the futures market.
I'm not telling people what to do with their money.
Yeah.
I'm just suggesting.
Now we're in the futures market.
Yeah.
Cool.
I said there were no rules, Berm.
There are no rules.
All right.
Do whatever you
That
want.
giant grasshopper sets the rules.
If he tells me to do something, I'm doing it. Holy smokes.
I will go stock slightly up on something that I frankly thought we would not see very much this year, which is Jim Knowles actually putting a third linebacker on the field. I think I even wrote before the Notre Dame game, because that's all people were talking about, and it was a big talking point in the offseason. Like, forget it, it's not going to happen. He's just going to keep his 5 safeties out there, or 5 defensive backs out there. And I think that's largely been the case, but we saw it against Wisconsin with Sonny Styles, who was effectively playing linebacker. He was down in the box. And then this past week with Cody Simon, who played very well, had 6 tackles, probably played the best he's played, certainly this year. I mean, you could make the argument in his career in a handful of snaps. And that's going to be important against Michigan. More than anything else. We very well may not even see it again until Michigan, and that's fine. But I think it matters how good it looked on Saturday against Iowa, how comfortable Cody Simon looked, kind of playing as a 5th defensive lineman, helping set the edge, crashing down on a couple runs. They're going to need that down the road. So I like that we've seen it a little bit. I like that it's good when we have seen it, and it's going to matter in a couple weeks.
Is it cliche if I say Cam Martinez?
No, go for it.
I think Cam Martinez stocks up. Clearly, we're seeing him in the game earlier and more often in these last couple weeks, and especially, I think it's interesting against Iowa when you're playing a team that is so tight end heavy that you're playing safeties like Cam Martinez in that situation, who are smaller guys in stature, but obviously just the quickness, the ability to read what's happening. You see the light is coming on for Cameron at safety and in the defensive backfield. As long as he can stay healthy, Jim Knowles said it on Tuesday, that's been the reason that he hasn't been able to get out there as much as they would like. He had a high ankle sprain that he suffered against Toledo, and now you're starting to see him back to normal. And you really do see him. He's flying around the field. He's seeing where things are going and quickly getting there. And he's got a different level of like sideline to sideline speed than a lot of these other safeties do. So, and he's best friends with Lathan Ransom. And I think that's rubbing off. Like, you're starting to see the light come on.
Yeah, I was going to also go to safety. Really, just that whole unit. Stock is so far up for that. Cameron Martinez adding to the depth is key to that. Josh Proctor coming back off of an illness should help with that depth as well. But I'm not sure that it's going to matter a ton, because Tanner McAllister has played so well and knows where to be and how to maximize the play calls from Jim Knowles and Ronnie Hickman. We've talked about him all year with the consistency, and now the rest of the country is starting to recognize what Lathan Ransom is doing. It's remarkable. Again, we've made that point a number of times, that he, on January 1, was lying on the field at the Rose Bowl with a broken leg, and now here he is going on to Thorpe Award watch list. And frankly, I'm surprised that he was got that opportunity.
Not watch list. He's a semifinalist.
Sorry, yeah.
He went from not being on the watch
to
list
the semifinalist.
To being a semifinalist.
Yeah, but that surprised me, because Tanner McAllister has some stats that you can point to, and Ronnie Hickman has the reputation coming off of a year ago. So that surprised me, but I think that the rest of the country has taken notice for what a Jim Knowles safety-driven defense can do, and the stock is continuing to go up for that. But just like at corner, you're going to have to earn that on the road against Penn State and prove that is legit. I think they will, but we'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah, and kudos to the Thorpe Award people for actually paying attention to what's happening on the field. I'm looking at you, Buckeyes. Are you doing the same?
That dovetails very nicely to my last stock up, which is like a Tommy Eichenberg still, I guess, because he keeps doing different stuff every week.
He's like Apple stock now.
Yeah, it's through the roof, man. Scored a touchdown, was all over the place, was their co-defensive player of the game. I think, was he been that every game so far this year? If not, he should have been.
I think they're going to have to retire that award.
Yeah, just call it the Eichenberg Award for Ohio State's defensive player of the game. Like, I don't know how much more we can say about how well he's playing, but I feel like every week we need to at least pay attention to it, recognize it, because as Berm has said, he is playing like the best linebacker in the country.
You wanted to, because I think that was your 4th stock.
Yeah, that was my 4th stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were doing 4.
I mean, we can
You
do
did 4. Didn't you do 4?
I don't know.
I did 3.
I did
There's
3.
no rules, though.
Wait,
Only the grasshopper makes the rules. We've already established that.
you didn't do 4?
I didn't.
I thought you both did 4. That's why I did a 4.
No, you were the first one, remember?
You just really wanted to
Let's
get
each
Tommy.
do 7. No, I was like scrambling to figure out a
I'm
4.
just going to do one without any context. Jesse Mirko, boop, 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 stock up, continues to just put teams exactly where they need to be, and that's inside the 5-yard line. He's kicking it great. He's going to be needed this weekend.
Okay.
You got another one?
Or not, because
Yeah,
Chip
sure.
Trayanum was going to score touchdowns.
1 touchdown.
Riley Jeffers for continuing to listen to the podcast.
Sorry, stock up.
Not everybody can say that. Stock way up. That's a smart move if you're in the building and listening to the show. You better confirm that you did, because we're going to know now. We name dropped you. That's Bill Berm. I'm Austin. This has been the Wednesday Stock Watch podcast daily. A lot of different names. We appreciate you watching and listening with us. A couple more days to go till we will be at Ohio State and Penn State Saturday at noon. We'll see you there.